Greetings and welcome to DS340W. My name is Kamran Rahimifa, and my primary research area is applied optimization, and anything to do with data naturally falls under the umbrella of applied optimization. Wherever you look to the left and the right, you are going to see data, whether being collected from the entry point, the contact point, the sensory points, up to the very end, where we are going to understand, analyze, and make decisions. I want to basically alert you to where we are in terms of the class. I want to go through the syllabus, explain the modality that we are going to go for, the flow of the class, and I would appreciate if you patiently stay with me until the end of this session and the next, where I would be explaining whatever you need to know in order to function and operate correctly and the best in the class. This is Applied Data Science. It's a 3-credit course, DS340W. It has a prereq. The prereq is 300 and 310. If you take a look at the prereq, 300 is privacy and security for data sciences, and 310 is machine learning for data analytics. And if you go through the flow of data science program, and I'm assuming all of you are in the data science program, you definitely have taken a scripting course, something like that, perhaps introduction to data science that I have been teaching in the past, and I have recording for that online. You can potentially take advantage of data management for data science. And then you have 300 and 310 as prereq of this class. And then you can see that the applied data science is almost at the pinnacle of the data science program. This is where you are trying to get used to the applied sense of the data science application side. So if you take a look at this, what are the applications that we are talking about? I have a slide, and the slides basically are recorded. I'm going to show you where they are recorded in a moment. But generally speaking, if you take a look at the application of data science, there are so many. For e-commerce, you want to identify the consumers and customers. How do you want to recommend a product? If you go to Netflix, if you go to Amazon, you start buying, for example, a simple laptop, and suddenly you can see recommended laptops with different brands, with different features and criteria. And then those are supposed to be catching your attention. And you are the one who are going to be providing such a platform on Amazon to assist with the customer purchase. You want to identify the customer's need, the segment of the customers and the consumers. If you go to Netflix, and if you are a sci-fi person who is going to, who has been watching sci-fi series, perhaps one or two on Netflix, Netflix says perhaps you like the rest of the sci-fi, and they try to give you a sci-fi recommendations, right? And possibly they may go out of their way and have embedded one or two non-sci-fi to see whether they can capture your attention. One of the things that are important in e-commerce is to analyze the review. I want to buy a bicycle, I want to buy a monitor, I want to buy a laptop. And the first thing I do, that's a confession I'm going to make to you, is that I'm going to go to Amazon, I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to say, for example, Asus laptop review. Or I'm going to go to Amazon or Walmart or Costco and take a look at the reviews that are there. Naturally, those reviews are supposed to have been produced by verified customers and verified purchasers. But at the same time, we know that big companies can play around this and basically give you a laptop for free for the sake of you coming back and providing an excellent review. Make sense? So What we have to do, though, we have to be very clever and basically come through all of the reviews that are available and see which one is going to catch your eye and your attention. And you say, I think the ones that are not so favorable are actually providing concrete evidence that this product may not be suitable for me. Maybe suitable for someone else, but not for me. Analyzing reviews is a task of a data scientist. E-commerce is a huge domain, and this is a lot of transactions are being made. As you can imagine, almost trillions of dollars are being made across the globe on the internet. Alibaba, Amazon, Walmart, Costco, Best Buy, eBay, all of that. You can see that those stores, online stores, have actually a kind of a rating, positive or a slightly less than perfect rating, and those are going to be important for me. Can I trust the online shop that is going to send me this specific product to deliver it on time, to deliver it in a proper box, and to deliver it undamaged and in original form and things like that? You really want to take a look at the reviews. And in this case, it would be your job to basically collect, analyze, and decide whether that specific product could potentially have a high rating or not, and that rating is justified or not, right? In terms of manufacturing, it's very important these days that for us to predict the potential problems. I have a laptop, and Asus, for example, has been selling laptop for so many years and so many different regions of the globe, with different temperatures, with different usage approach, and they may have different habit of the way that they use a laptop. So doesn't have to be a laptop. It could be a car. It could be a machinery used on the farming industry. In the farming industry, we want to see where the problems are. And typically speaking, if you ask me, as a person who is an expert in the domain of engineering, and computer engineering is actually my specialty as well. So what you could say is that where is the heat? Where is the heat in the laptop? And what's the relationship between the heat that is generated under the laptop? You can put your hand under the laptop, you can see, and the failure of the laptop. What part of the chip gets hot during extensive hours of operation? And is it going to fail? If that's not the case, what else can fail? And you could tell me in a statistical sense, that you can come back and say, from our understanding, the data that we have collected, the data that we have analyzed, we could tell you that this specific chip could malfunction instead of 1 in 100, 1 in million possibility, it could malfunction 1 in 100. And that's really a big question mark for the manufacturing industry. Oh, really? 1 in 100 is going to be very costly. And the way I'm going to avoid that cost is actually to resolve that before I ship the laptop to the customer. So they need to know where the potential problems exist. Monitoring system, obviously, computer vision is one subset of this. If you ask me, you would like to monitor everything that is happening. If it is required for a automation process, what is it that's being done at the moment? All of that. Automating manufacturing units. At some point, you want to replace humans who could potentially be prone to fatigue, to other issues in life, family, emotion, whatever you call illness. I'm going to replace it with a robot. And hopefully the repetitive tasks can be done by a robot. Remember, robot is not going to replace human being. Robots, as we know them today, they don't have the brain and the capacity that humans have. But at the same time, for repetitive tasks that are not going to see abrupt change in the process, robots are actually excellent replacement for humans. Maintenance scheduling. So For example, for oil change, if you want to ask me, are you due for an oil change? You could even go as far as looking at the scheduling of not only for maintenance, but the scheduling of anything else. Is your fridge going to have the fresh milk at the time or not? As simple as that. Not necessarily a domain for manufacturing, but this is something you would be collecting the data from. Anomaly detection, extremely important in this domain. Very important for us to know what's wrong with the manufacturing process, what's wrong with the product, what could go wrong. This could happen not only in manufacturing, but in banking. We are going to talk about it. We are going to talk about healthcare, security, you name it. In terms of security, I want to know if somebody is actually behaving very oddly at airport, maybe very oddly at some famous squares in the cities, centers of the cities. It's very important for me for security. I want to take a look at the internet, and if I take a look at the internet, there are going to be some anomalies. There are going to be some attacks. The same thing is true for manufacturing. In manufacturing, I want to know what could go wrong. And those things that are going to go wrong are not going to be easily handled by a robot necessarily. Of course, as I said, this is an abrupt change into the system, and this abrupt change requires intelligence that is reserved at the moment for human brain and human beings. So you want to see what could go wrong. The tires, the windshield, and the wiper, the meters inside on the dashboard in the car, whatever you name it. If we take a look at the banking, similar stuff are going to be there. For example, fraud detection. And specifically, I can alert you to money laundering is very important for almost every government on the planet. They want to know where the money is coming from, where the money is going to, and they want to see whether there is something wrong. They want to see that there has been a sudden change in your balance, and you suddenly, they see $100,000 have been moving from your bank account to an overseas account. Why? Is that, are you being a victim of a fraud or a scam? And they typically hold on to that transfer, and they typically give you a call, and they typically would like to verify that. For example, you're using a credit card, and the credit card you're going to use is a state college. You have been in a state college for a long time, and then you can see I have been almost buying everything I needed from Costco and Sam's Club and Walmart and all that in a state college. And then suddenly they see that there is a transaction happening in country X across the globe. I don't want to name the country. There are many of them, okay? And it's not because of the country, it's because of the people inside those countries that are trying to take advantage of your credit card. And the way it works, you might be surprised to know that they start actually charging your credit card for about $10, very small amount, because they want to stay under the radar. And as soon as they stay under the radar and the transaction is approved and you have no complaint and you're not watching your credit card transactions, what happens is that they start raising up the limit. Now the credit card agency has no reason to believe that this is going to be a fraud, because there has been a $10, a $20, a $30 transactions. Perhaps it has been an annual or monthly fees that they're going to be charged on you. That's what it is. And then they say, oh, this is normal. Country X originated this transfer in the past. The customer has no complaint, and that's it. You see, so the fraud detection has many angles, dimensions, and aspects you need to look into. Credit risk modeling. I'm going to give you a mortgage. But before I give you the mortgage, I need to take a look at your salary, your income, your expenses, your assets, your existing assets, your liabilities. If I give you $100,000 as a mortgage, would you be able to pay them back to me? I'm making money on my mortgage interest rate. You might be surprised that the interest rate at this time is barely 3%. And 3%, of course, is not the interest rate that the bank pays behind the scene. They pay possibly 1% or even less. And the amount of money that they make is a difference between the interest rate that they give you versus the interest rate that they pay to the central bank or the bond market or something like that. Make sense? So they are making money, but at the same time, they want to see that they can actually safely extract that 2% interest, annual interest. You might laugh at it. Eventually, as you pay months to months and months, right? So they want to actually analyze your risk band. If you take a look at your Equifax, your Experian, your TransUnion, you have a risk band. So we want to understand what the risk band is. Customer lifetime value. Oh, okay. This person has been very good in paying all of the bills on time, sooner than basically deadline. Pay all of the bills in total, not in a smaller amount. Never paid an interest of 20% on any credit card balance. They have a good asset and everything else. I'm going to value you. And since you are a valuable customer, I'm going to have a very specific respect and relationship with you and try to see whether I can entice you to other products that I have. So you don't have a mortgage, your house is fully paid for, sure. Can I help you and entice you to buy a car on a loan? Can I make you interested in buying a property for investment? Can I interest you for basically stock markets and everything else? You see, I need to know you. And this knowing is not going to happen because we shook hands in the branch the last time we met. No, it's going to be based on data. And the data is going to be collected by every agency, you name it. MasterCards collect all of your purchases. They already know your habits, the type of purchases you make. You could even go actually take a look at your purchase history and see the type of a person you are, how much money you spend on the entertainment industry, on the travel parts, on the food and on the necessities, on the books and everything else. Basically, so credit cards are one. Banks are going to know the amount of salaries that are coming in and the amount of expenses that are going to be. Banks are collecting everything. You name it. Even government, obviously, government would like to know a lot about you. Facebook, another one. You name it. Everybody wants Instagram, WhatsApp. They want to know your location. So these are the data that's being collected, and the data that's being collected is humongous. In a span of 1 hour these days, the amount of data that is collected in 1 hour on the internet, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on whatever you name it, social networks and platforms, is more than the total amount of data collected since the beginning of time, billion years ago, up to 2010, up to 2012. That's how rapid the internet is collecting the data. You go to the internet and you're trying to browse the internet, and when you browse the internet, you are going to see different sites. Who am I? Am I reading news most of the time? Am I looking at the stock market charts all the time? Am I looking at the games that I want to play? Internet would like to sell me new products. The entire idea is I want to collect data from you, whatever you do, whether you're aware of it or not, and then sit down and see what I have to do to get more money from you. So that's what it is. But thanks God, it's not necessarily about the money making, it's about the well-being as well. Take a look at the healthcare industry, this healthcare industry. So medical image analysis, drug discovery, bioinformatics, virtual assistants. Virtual assistants doesn't have to be in healthcare. You go to any company and they would like to, for example, you go to, I would say, any internet provider, Comcast, for example, Xfinity that I'm using in a state college, and they have virtual assistant. They want to see first they can streamline your request before they can actually lets you go to the next stage where you would be talking to a live agent. The same thing is true in the healthcare industry. They are there. They ask you some basic questions. Have you been traveling in the past 14 days? Do you have fever? Do you have cough? Do you have any issues at the moment? Visual assistants are supposed to help us to collect. They are actually collecting data from us. And then they are saying, okay, oh yeah, you have fever. We need to set you up for emergency room, ER, ICU, whatever it is. So they are trying to streamline the service that they are providing to you. Now, take a look at the file, a medical file. Obviously, I'm age X, I'm getting old, and I have a collection of medical data already. With that in mind, what is happening is that the data is collected. I have had cold in the past and the flu and so on. I've had surgery. I had simply annual checkups. I had heart signals checked up. Everything perfect. Everything is not perfect. And then I'm aging. And I'm aging, and we know already that people who are aging, they may be prone to diabetes. They may be prone to heart signals and heart problems. They may be prone to strokes. And then you can take a look at the data in my file and then say, wow, I think you better see the doctor, even though you are not showing any symptoms. No, really, that's what the data scientist is supposed to do. The data scientist is supposed to take a look at my medical file and then alert me and the physician that I simply need to have a checkup. Make sense? In terms of drugs, obviously, AI has gone into drug discovery. And they are actually utilizing, not to be successful yet, but they are trying to utilize AI in terms of combinations of components in a drug, specifically designed for a very specific disease and illness. And they will have it in conjunction with placebo, and then they want to see whether the drug that artificial intelligence system has identified would be effective or not. At this time, the industry is trying to simulate the heart, the brain, the blood, the components, everything, minerals, everything. And then they want to say, okay, based on the past experience and the data that we have collected, based on the body reaction that we have observed in the past, this drug needs to be designed in a very specific way. Take a look at medical imaging. Now, one of the things that happened, interestingly, during the COVID-19 era was that there were too many images that needed to be analyzed. And one of the things that you could potentially do is that thousands of images that are coming in, instead of a human being doing that, you could potentially allow a system, a computer, to analyze the images, at least screen them. So suppose you have 1,000 images in a very specific clinic, and then you could potentially eliminate 800 of them as being an issue for COVID-19. Their lung has not been invaded by COVID-19 virus, and therefore they are not cause for alarm. And therefore, we just need to take a look at 200. You see, you basically opened up the time of the physician to take a look at only 200 images instead of 1,000 images. And then that physician could potentially go around, talk to the patients, fill the paperwork, let some people, release some people back to their home and ask them to quarantine at home. And then for those who are a little bit in extreme situation, they could potentially start basically injections and as well as intubation and all that, right? Make sense? So that's what this can be done. It's huge. It's huge. Whatever has been done at the time of 1990 by Microsoft, it is now being done by data scientists. You are at the verge of huge revolution. And if you want to stay relevant, you need to apply your skill set on the relevant issue at hand. Transportation, self-driving cars. I don't even have to tell you what it is. It is going to be a big revolution, but without the data, without the sensory information that are coming in, without the collection of the data and then analyzing them, whether it be images, a stream of clips and videos, or simply temperatures and speed readouts, you would not be able, or maybe connected to a Google map and read out where exactly the car is, GPS, you would not be able to drive a car or basically autonomously. It's very important. Enhanced driving experience, you could potentially utilize a simulator basically, and let the individual run the simulator and enhance the driving experience. Car monitoring systems, I want to see whether it's due for my exhaust system. I want to see whether my oil change is due or not. I want to see if one of the sensors inside the car is actually about to alert me to a tire pressure, oil change, or a gearbox or something. I don't know. I'm just saying that. I'm not an expert. I'm not a car mechanic, but I know some of the components in the car, some of the sensors in the car. Make sense? Enhancing the safety of the passengers. Of course, I have the left and the right mirrors. I have the back mirrors. I have the back mirrors in front at the dashboard. And also I have the camera at the back, and I have the camera on the side. And I want to be able to change the lane safely. I want to back up from the parking spot, and I don't want to hit another car either coming behind me, moving behind me, or another car that is parked behind me. And some of the accidents happen right in the parking lots. You might be surprised to know. Finance, customer segmentation, strategic decision-making, algorithmic trading, very important. And I'm actually quite involved in trading. And if you like to, I would like to pick up projects in that area. And risk analytics. So we have spoken of these applications. I didn't cover even half. I don't think even I have covered 1/10 of the domain. The domain is so huge. You as human being are collecting data from your eyes, nose, and mouth and ears, and your skin and all that. And then imagine you have a iWatch or something attached to your wrist, and then you have a pacemaker. If you have a heart device that you have attached in your beside your heart to regulate your heart signals, brain signals, you name it. And then when we go into monitoring security, airport, on the important intersections and centers of the cities, we want to understand that in terms of COVID-19, we really want to know where are the outbreaks and what's the relationship between the outbreaks and political views. And in terms of vaccinations and the death rate and the hospitalization, we want to know that. We want to know what happens with the economy in general, in terms of employment and unemployment and the crash of the economy. We want to know what's the impact of the travel industry and border closures. You name it. Climate change, I didn't even touch that. And in climate change, you're talking about the temperatures, the extreme weather change in terms of whether it being wildfires or it being flood, and it being, you can hear from the news, not necessarily to depress you, but to take a look at the news every now and then. You can see that floods are happening in areas that they were not happening in the past. Wildfires are expanding in California and in Brazil and in some other parts of the globe. Turkey never had that, I think, in the past. Now they had even fatality in Turkey for the wildfire. And you have areas that have never seen snow, that they are seeing snow. So you can see, the question is, you as the data scientist is supposed to come in and study that. So the applied area is extremely important. Recommender systems, internet search, question answering systems, personalized healthcare recommendations, identifying and predicting diseases, optimizing shipping routes in real time, fraud and risk detections, delivery logistics. Those are just minor stuff. The question is, what is your area of interest? The very first question you need to answer in this class, and when I say you, I mean you and your teammate. What is your common area of interest? You might say it's going to be e-commerce. It might be self-driving cars. It might be imaging. You need to narrow down on that. And one of the lectures I'm going to record on that for you is that for you to be able to do an online search properly and effectively. So take a look at this and then make a decision as to what is going to be your area of interest. The second thing that I would like to stress is on the pipeline. You have, this slide is actually recorded on the lecture. I'm going to show you where it is. A pipeline. It's very important by now that you have seen that there is a beginning and there is a conclusion at the end of every data scientist project. So you are going to collect the data, do the sampling, whatever it is, basically clean up the data, processing the data, normalizing it, and so on, transforming the data, dimension reductions, factor analysis, and then you do machine learning at this time, extracting the patterns, and then you do the decision at the end. Knowledge, what is it going to be? What is your interpretation of basically the result? So when we talk about the stock market, where is the data coming from? When we talk about the healthcare, when we talk about climate, when we talk about COVID, where are the data coming from? Are the data actually saved and in a proper format or not? So, but I need you to remember that in this class, you need to have a pipeline in mind. This is just one of the many pipelines that exist in data science. This is called data science life cycle. And you need to go from the data collection, cleaning it up, transforming it. Machine learning is going to be a huge part of it, but keep in mind, machine learning is useless if your data is not properly clean. 60% of the time of a data scientist is actually spent on collecting data and processing the data and transforming the data. I would dare to go to say even 80% of the time of the data scientist is going to be there. Why? Because when we get to the machine learning, internet is full of it. You have all kind of algorithms, all kind of codes available, all kind of basically types of codes, MATLAB code, Python, or you name it, C, C++. And then you can potentially apply that. It could be potentially one line of code. So that's why I would dare to say that the machine learning part is not necessarily a huge part of the data science life cycle. And then the question is, can you derive an understanding of the result, interpret the result, and visualize that? So I need you to remember this pipeline in whatever application that you are going to select. Now, I promise to tell you that I'm going to show you where you can find data science information and even pipeline. We have emphasized so much in DS200. If you go to, I'm going to leave this link for you. These are all my lectures for DS200. And if you say I've forgotten something, I dare you to go and take a look at those recorded lectures. Those are my lectures. And then you can see some of the slides that I have put in. And then those slides are going to be tremendously helpful for you to achieve what you need to achieve. Having said that, so basically that's what the course content is. You are going to do a real life project, and this is going to manifest itself in the form of a research paper. Research paper, we will talk about it in another recording, is going to have a very specific format. And that format, I will explain in detail and record that and put that on Canvas. And we will talk about it as we go along. Now, speaking of the syllabus, as you know, we have 3 sections. I'm actually honored to be serving in 3 different sections. And these 3 different sections are primarily 1:35 p.m. to 2:50 p.m., 3:05 p.m. to 4:20 p.m., 4:35 p.m. to 5:50 p.m. They are physical classroom. As you know, this term, PSU has opted to have in-person classrooms. What we are going to do, we are going to utilize the in-person classrooms in a very specific way. I'm going to explain that. But if you didn't want to come to any class for any reason, you have an illness, you're traveling, whatever reason is, I'm going to have all of my lectures and discussions that are needed for this class recorded, such as the one I'm doing right now, and I'm going to post them on Canvas. So you don't have to come to the class for lecture time. But there is a reason you might want to come to the class, and I explain that in a moment. So please watch this space for the entire term. Much of what you need to know is going to be recorded and provided to you on Zoom. A lot of the issues that we are going to do is going to be based on basically group interactions and teamwork, and as well as the feedback you're going to receive from us. I have the privilege of working with 4 wonderful TAs. Quite a significant number of people are supposed to be helping us. This is a W course, which is a writing course, and we are supposed to be helping you as much as we can. Optional textbook. This textbook is free. You don't even have to buy it. You don't even have to open it. But in case you have forgotten anything, you could potentially go there and look at it. In terms of hardware, it is your responsibility to have a laptop, to have a means to communicate with Canvas, communicate with your teammates, communicate with me via email, whatever it is. That's your responsibility. That's not PSU responsibility. In terms of software, one of the major software we are going to be using in this class is a recording software. It's a Zoom. I would ask you to go to your Zoom, PSU Zoom. That's zoom.psu.edu. If you go there and if you log in while you are on your PSU account, it's going to actually take you in, and then you're going to be given a very important platform. And that platform is actually paid by PSU. This platform is important because every element, component of the term requires you to either record it on Zoom or for you to come in person in class and sit down and do the group work. If you don't want to do Zoom recording, it's fine, but you must be in class to do it, because we are going to take attendance during your class visit. So I need you to know that. But if you are not coming to the classroom, you must record your activities on Zoom, the way we are going to describe in a moment. Zoom is going to, PSU Zoom is paid. You don't have to pay anything. While you are going to use the PSU Zoom, it's going to be timeless. If you have a free Zoom, it's going to be only 40 minutes. It's going to kick you out, and then you need to log in again for another 40 minutes. But if you're using PSU Zoom, it's going to be possibly 2 hours. It could even go as far as 3 hours if you wanted to, because it's a business package. The second thing that the PSU Zoom has is that it gives you a space. I think the space is unlimited. The minimum space, I remember, it might be 15 gigabytes, but I think 15 gigabytes was only on my Canvas. But the Zoom itself is unlimited space-wise. Kaltura is another tool that you can use. PSU has Kaltura, and you can potentially do recording on Kaltura if you want to. The only problem with Kaltura is that when you finish the recording, you need to give us permission. Without giving us permission on Kaltura, we will not be able to actually open your recording. On the Zoom, what happens is that after you finish the recording, it's going to give you a link. And that link you post it on the assignment section of Canvas. It's as simple as that. If you don't use the Zoom or internet-based recording mechanism, what happens is that you need to download it on your local disk, and then you need to upload it on Canvas. You are actually going to use your bandwidth twice, if not 3 times. So I don't recommend that. What you do is that you go to Zoom, you do the recording, you just give us the link, no download, no upload, and that's it. And then simply we will be able to take a look at your recording. We will be watching all of your recording. The most important software you need is Zoom. The next one, of course, you need, you can even use Google Meet. You can use Microsoft Teams if you wanted to. Other tools are available, no excuses, Camtasia, Skype, You can do free recording if you wanted to. You can use Google Drive. By the way, PSU has a Google Suite. It doesn't have Gmail, but it has a Google Suite. And you have a Google Drive, and you can potentially use that drive, unlimited drive, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or worst case 15 gigabytes, which is not small, but I think it's unlimited because it's paid by PSU, and it is a business suite. And then what happens is that you basically have the option to do whatever you want to do on Google Drive, on Google Suite. On Google Suite, you have a whole array of application available except the Gmail for PSU. So that's the only sad part, that PSU doesn't allow you to have a Gmail. You can actually create your own Gmail using your PSU email, and then make it basically log in, two-factor authentication and all that. Our classes begins on Tuesday, 24th. 23rd is the first day, and what happens is that we have a regular drop date that would be August 28th, next Saturday, and regular hour that would be August 29th. And obviously until Sunday, we have a fluctuation registration. Some people are going to come to the class. Some people are going to leave the class based on what they perceive of the load in this class. And all is welcome. Obviously, you can do whatever you wanted to do. And late drop begins on August 29, and then registrations 30th. Labor Day, we don't have any classes on Monday, September 6th, but if you have any class any other time, any other classes on Monday, that would be it. Final exam conflict. If you are not on University Park campus, what happens is that they are going to give us the final exam schedule. Yes, this course has a final exam, and but during September 27 and October 27, I will be posting before that your final exam schedule. And if you don't see it on your Canvas and you think that there is a conflict with another class or course, you need to bring that to the attention of the registration and admission office, as well as me. Please send me an email, let me know. We need to know that there is an issue with this, and then we are going to take care of that. Okay. I need to pause. My battery was dying, and I needed to bring my adapter to make sure that the battery is going to be there. Okay, so let's continue with the share process. So if you do have a conflict, we have an exam, a final exam in this class, and if you have a conflict, you need to let us know on September 27. I'll post that on Canvas as an announcement, but at the same time, I hope that you will see the schedule, final exam schedule on your line path. Basically, the late drop is November 12th. And we have a midterm before November 12th, and we would like to give you the grade and feedback all the way so that you can decide whether you want to stay or not. At this time, I never had anybody to drop the class yet, so I'm happy to see that everybody agrees with the fruitfulness of the process so far. We have a 1 week off Thanksgiving holidays. In some of the other universities, this is called a study week. The whole week is off. Obviously, as I said, many of the activities we do are based on whatever you do at home. There is no physical class, obviously, during this holiday. The deadline to withdraw is December the 10th. The last class is December the 10th. For us, would be December the 9th. You have 2 days to study, and then there is almost 4 days final exam. It's going to be squeezed. But the final exam is going to be in a very special format. I'm going to explain in a moment. Let me explain the grading breakdown. So grade breakdown, the team formation, 2%. I'm going to have a secondary recording in a moment, and I will be explaining about the warm-up lab, 3%. And then we have 3 paper readings. I'm going to explain that. Midterm is actually set for October 26. Please book this. This is an important date for us. If you have a midterm on that day or nearby, you need to talk to the instructors that are going to schedule it after me, or they have been already scheduled. I need to know that by the end of today, Tuesday, August 24th. We do have a project. This is actually the main part of the project, which is going to be your implementation and enhanced implementations and your testing. Then your project is going to be peer reviewed. We do have two types of peer review at the end. They have actually significant impact on your overall grade. Basically, one peer review is that all of the projects, research and recording and presentations are going to be posted for your attention, and your classmates are going to have a chance to peer review you and give you feedback and give you ratings. And as well, each member is going to peer review the other team members of the same team, as well as peer review their own. They may have some issues, for example, illness, family concern, or everything else. They may have had to bear the responsibility because some people have been absent during many of the meetings and so on. So those are the things that I need you to keep in mind. Now, up to the project review, you could potentially even achieve 100% of the grade. But according to the individual review, I come to know that one of the team members has been consistently absent. I didn't know that because the recording didn't allow me to see that. But behind the scene, the issues escalated most of the time at the end of the term. And I get an email or two that something has happened, but you do have the chance to evaluate yourself and evaluate your teammate. And your 100% achievement in the class could potentially become 60%. So please remember that there is going to be a scaling factor based on our observation of the recording sessions or your attendance inside the class, as well as the observations of the teams on each other, as well as the peer review of results by the classmates, team A by the rest of the class. So there will be scaling factors, and those scaling factors are going to have an impact on your overall grade. Quizzes are going to be completed by December the 7th. I'm going to explain that. We do have a final exam. Tentatively, I'm going to schedule that for 15th. Then we have attendance. Attendance in teamwork is mandatory. Whether it's going to be in-person teamwork or you are going to do recording at home, whatever distance you are in, all team members must be there. So if you don't like recording, fine. You need to come physically to the class with your teammates, and myself and my TAs will be there. One or two of them will be there. And we will be going around the desks. We will be taking your attendance inside the team. Make sense? We don't have attendance for classroom. So the classroom schedule that you saw on top, you don't have attendance for the lecture part, because the lecture parts are going to be recorded and submitted online, whatever it may be. Okay? But the team activities, your attendance is mandatory. When I say attendance is mandatory and you have a team of 3, your attendance is mandatory in the scope of 3 people, a team of 3. You cannot be absent in your team. Whether you are doing it on Zoom or you're doing it in person, you cannot be absent, and you must be available, and we watch your interactions. It's very important for us to know whether you are contributing to the team or not. You could potentially be an effective team player, and I'm going to give you a chance to take a look at the team in general. And you may have some work done at home, and then you bring it to the table when you come in person, or you come to the Zoom recording, and you could potentially showcase your readiness to succeed, your passion to succeed. So that's very important for us. We are going to observe your interactions. Grades may be deferred on a case-by-case basis, COVID-19, illness, family issues. Extra credits, we do have extra credits. I'm going to explain that later. Whatever happens in terms of your quizzes and midterm and final, you can always approach me, and I would like to sit down with you and see where things has gone wrong. You should have received a lot of feedback by then. You would know some of the hints from us that this has to be fixed, this has to be modified, your presence is not there, your interactions is limited. We don't want a person in the room to dominate the room. We don't want one team member to take hostage the entire atmosphere of the room, the team working. We don't want that. We want people to contribute almost equally, 50%, 50%, 60%, 40%, even 70%, 30% is really not good. 80%, 20% is bad. 90, 10, bad. 100%, zero, bad. You can't stay silent. I know you might be shy, but this is the time you need to speak. We listen carefully to what you have to say. We listen carefully to the amount of information that you are going to bring to the table. We listen to your contributions. And so these are important. And at the same time, when we get a chance, we let you know that we believe your contributions to the recording is not significant yet. We will let you know. Make sense? Late assignment, I have all of the assignments basically already set. I'm going to explain the Canvas and navigate through components of the Canvas in a moment. There is no makeup quiz and midterm and final. There is really nothing to do. You do have a lot of chances to take care of the issues. You can do it ahead of the time if you wanted to. Due dates for all of the labs and projects are going to be set on Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. It is a set date every week. That's what you are going to submit your material. And then we are trying to do our best to give you feedback by Friday of the same week when the assignment is due. When we get to the exam, we have two types of exams. You do have exam, midterm and the final. I will explain that when we get to the Canvas navigation recording in a moment. We do have exam that is instructor based. I'm going to ask you multiple choice question, possibly. essay type questions, maybe ask you to do some coding, but the entire question is designed by me. You don't have any input except to answer them. That's called instructor-centered question. A student-centered question is different. I'm going to give you, for example, a confusion matrix. You already know what confusion matrix is. If you don't know, you can always go to my recording, and confusion matrix actually is explained I think decision tree, entropy, and all that, predictive modeling and all that. You can basically go there and find them. I'm going to give you an empty confusion matrix, okay? But I'm going to ask you to fill it in. So what happens is that you type in the numbers. Obviously, the numbers you're going to type is going to be different than the numbers of your classmates and teammates. It's going to be different than the numbers of other people across the globe. You're going to type in your numbers, and you're going to go and then solve the problem at hand. We give you, and it's going to be also a case where I'm going to say, okay, I need you to do a reading on your own, and then you're going to basically do the question for us. It's a take-home exam for midterm, and it's going to be conducted as a group, and it's going to be October 26th. And then the final exam, tentatively December 15, but it's going to be set by university registrar office. Webcam must be on. In all of your recording, webcam must be on. In person, of course, you don't need to have a webcam. I see you, you see me in person, and so there's no need for a webcam at a time when you come to the class. But if you're recording, I need to see the webcam on, computer screen needs to be shared, your microphone needs to be on, the entire session needs to be recorded. We are asking you to, you don't have to be dressing officially for the intermediate assignments and quizzes, except for the final presentation, final course presentation. We ask you to dress officially, but the rest you can do a casual dressing, modest dressing. That's what you can do. You can be in your room in a very comfortable position. That's okay. So basically, webcam needs to be on. We already have all of the deadlines posted, and if you have any issues, you need to let me know. Some of you celebrate Saturday as your holiday, religious holiday. Some of you celebrate Sunday as your religious holiday. Some of you celebrate Friday as your religious holiday. If those are going to be the concern to you, and since you already know the deadline, you need to just aim ahead of time and then submit them before your celebration, your holiday, your celebration or holidays kicking in. It's as simple as that. But there is interviews out of blue that comes in, some activities that are not expected right from the beginning. And as such, you need to let us know 10 days ahead of time. We are not canceling the classes. This class, as you can see, this week, we don't have any in person. Whatever is needed, we will be doing it and recording it online and posting them online. But the physical class is going to happen. I am going to be there starting next week. And this physical class is not for lecture. We are not doing lecture in physical class. The physical class is meant for group activities. In the past, some of the students have complained that there are too many recording sessions. I agree. You don't want to do recording? Fine. You come to the classroom, sit down around the table, and you work while we watch your interaction and interact with you ourselves and provide feedback to you. You can ask questions from us real time, and we try to answer you as best as we can. This might be the case because obviously you miss your classmates, you want to socialize, you miss the wall, you want to feel the framework of the classroom because it gives you adrenaline. It's true, an office space constrict you in a way that being at home, relaxed, and the flexibility you have over asynchronous mode, you don't want that. You want to be in a classroom. And I would really like that too, right? Just a moment, please. And let me share the screen again. Apology for having to pause the recording. Basically, if you have any technical issues, please get in touch with the IST support, with the IT support at PSU. They are extremely efficient, fast in responding, and it's going to be extremely helpful just to ask them your questions and see what the solutions are available for you. We have copyright that we need to have to keep an eye on. Copyright statement. This is actually taken from the PSU website. And what we are going to do in terms of copyright, I need you to keep in mind that all of your deliverables, especially the last one, will be tested in Turnitin. And you are not supposed to copy from someone else. The main part is that this is not allowed. It is considered plagiarism, and it's going to have a huge impact in your final grade. So please do not copy from the internet, because the logic says that if the piece of work is an excellent piece of work, the grade has to be assigned to the original author of the report, not you. So that's as simple as that, right? At the same time, we encourage teamwork. So if you are asking your team members to teach you something, or you and your team members are collaborating and basically trying to phrase and rephrase the material in your final document, that's okay. So talking to someone, seeking help and assistance is okay. But copying exactly from the internet is not. And when we copy, it's not just a copy and then have some 2 or 3 or 5 words inserted inside. No, the entire paragraph, if you must copy, has to be first cited properly. And second, it needs to be completely rephrased. So not only you say that this has been taken from someone else, you're also going to explain in your own way your understanding. This is going to manifest actually in a number of assignments we will be talking about. Whatever you submit is going to be the property of this classroom, as well as IST, as well as PSU. We could potentially use them for future classes and terms for educational purposes only. It will not be used outside of this classroom, outside of this IST and PSU. And the ones you are going to see online, you are not permitted to share them with anybody else. You can only watch them, use them, utilize them, learn a little things here and there, and then move on. You are not supposed to distribute them online anywhere else. And for that reason, some of the works I decided not to share. So, but generally speaking, I want you to know that whatever you submit is going to be the property of this course for the sake of education only. In terms of emails, I wanted you to know that I would try to respond to your emails as soon as I can, sometime within a minute if I'm behind the computer, sometime in an hour, sometime in 1 day, sometime in 2 days. But 2-day business days would be the maximum, and I would ask you to allow me that time. And if you didn't hear from me in 2 days' time, I need you to send me a reminder. Usually on Tuesday and Thursday, I have back-to-back classes starting from 8 a.m. and ending at 6 p.m. And I think this class is one of them. If you take a look at the class, this is, if I'm not mistaken, this class is ending at 6 p.m. So this is my, so I have 3 classes here, as well as 2 others on Tuesday and Thursdays. So that's what is happening. And if you are not hearing from me on Tuesday and Thursday, you know why, because I'm not behind my computer. But generally speaking, I intend to respond as soon as I can, as soon as I open up an email and I have my thoughts collected and reasoned, and I'm going to send you that information, your reply, as soon as I can. You are supposed to be collaborating in a team in this class, a team of 2. A team of 3 is a bit of a stretch. On unusual cases, we may approve it, but a team of 2 would be best. Logging into Canvas is going to be, please send me an email either through PSU email or Canvas email, and try to maintain regular contact with your Canvas, especially in the announcement section. Also, please take a look at the course syllabus. We could potentially change that. So far, that's not an intention. There is no intention, unless there is some typo, some mistakes, and anything that is going to change, we will try to notify you. There are some useful links you can use. Goals and objectives, I've let that for you to read. There are integrity policy. Copying is extremely prohibited. And if you copy, it could put you in a very difficult spot. It's called student misconduct, and that would be not only a grade of 0, but it could also be expulsion from university or the program. Please don't do that, okay? There are disability resources available, equity programs available for you, counseling and psychological services available for you, and then emergency notifications. I received them when there is a thunderstorm in State College. I received them in the past a number of times when there was a black bear walking on campus. It's a nice thing to see a bear, but not on campus. So they send you an alarm and ask you to watch out for basically animals that may not be safe for you to be around. In terms of mask, if you are coming to the class, you must put the mask on. This is not a political statement. You are a member of the university. I am a member of the university. I may agree with the mask. I may disagree with the mask. That's not an issue. The issue is that we are a member of an organization and we must follow their instructions. It's as simple as that. You need to put on the mask or else leave the room. And we could potentially even initiate a code of conduct violation if you don't put on the mask while you're coming to the classroom. I don't have a mask to give it to you. You need to either mask up or leave the room. It's as simple as that, okay? With that in mind, I hope the syllabus is clear. I'm going to send you the link to this introduction to data science. Anything that is that you need to refresh your memory, there is a textbook, a free textbook that you can potentially go to. If you want to attend different sections on Zoom, there is no issue. You can team up with anybody from another section and there is no problem. And as well, if you are registered in section 001, you want to go to section 004, that's fine. For as long as your teammate also is going to be in section 004. So keep in mind, the only condition I have is that you and your team must belong to that section if you're doing it in person. If you're doing it on Zoom, well, it really doesn't matter which section you belong to, technically, okay? With that in mind, I hope the syllabus is clear. And if you have any questions, please come and see me. And I would be delighted to explain that. At the same time, please stay tuned for a recording on Canvas, navigation, and the deliverables of this class. Thank you.